Good morning and Jai Hind. Welcome to the daily MCQ series. I hope everybody is doing good. Good morning everyone. Chaliye. So first article that we are talking about, the concern is growing with respect to the variant of concern that is the Delta variant, first identified in India, and this has now come from the United Kingdom. UK has said that their cases of coronavirus, they are doubling every 11 days, and that makes them really worried about what could be the situation unfolding as they are opening up the economy, right? So let's take a look at the development. The number of people infected with the COVID is increasing rapidly in England, doubling every 11 days. That means that in a span of 30 days or 33 days, you'll have thrice the number of the existing COVID number of the existing number of people infected with the COVID-19 disease. That means that all the opening up the economy, opening up of the economic activity across the UK and also the world at large, that could take a hit. Then this coincides with the Delta variant of COVID-19 becoming the dominant variant in the country, that is in UK. And this study which has now released or which has now come up with this observation that was done by the Imperial College of London, which led the real-time assessment of community transmission React 1 analysis. ठीक है, तो please pay attention to this keyword React 1. What is React 1? The Imperial College of London read real-time assessment of community transmission. ठीक है. Then what they go on to say that this analysis, it shows link between the variant and the rising COVID-19 infections in that country. Then health experts in the UK, they have also said that the variants will continue to emerge. It means that this is not going to be the last variant of coronavirus or the novel coronavirus. We are going to see further mutations also, and everyone will not be through this pandemic until the whole world has the ability to get vaccinated, which means essentially you will have to try and cover as many people across the world. It is not just across the countries, because remember, the transmission can get migrated also. Okay, these variants, certainly this was the Delta variant, which is right now a point of concern in UK. It first was identified in India and it has managed to spread its footprint all across the world, right? Then even the scientists in the United States, because see, that is the concern which people are having all across the countries with respect to the Delta variant, कि सिर्फ UK में ये नहीं है, even in US they are anxiously watching the Delta variant of COVID-19 as it is increasing its spread through an unevenly US population which has been vaccinated. And since US has, you know, relatively it is opening up its economy, and they had almost opened it up also to a large extent. So that is why they are also holding their breath with respect to how this mutated Delta variant infects the people and how they will be able to immunize them by the way of increased vaccination, right? So in India also, see, the point I'm trying to convey here is very outrightly, very unequivocally, is that all of you also, since the Delta variant was first spotted in India, please don't let your guard down. Let that all that caution still prevail. Chaliye. So let's take a question now. Which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to various variants of the novel coronavirus? Yes. The first statement, that is, the Delta variant is believed to be more transmissible than both the original strain of COVID and the Alpha strain. And second, a variant of concern designation by the US has put the Delta variant in the same category of increased surveillance as Alpha and Gamma. Ji, good morning. Ultimate Kannada, Gajanan, Mohit. Good morning, Ananya, Pooja, Kshitija. Good morning, Atit, Joy. गुड मॉर्निंग बिट्टू. ओके, ए एंड बी एंड सी. चलिए देखिए, जो इसमें फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट है, दैट सर्टेनली द डेल्टा वेरिएंट इज बिलीव्ड टू बी मोर ट्रांसमिसिबल, दैट इज करेक्ट, देन द ओरिजिनल स्ट्रेन, दैट इज द वायरस बिफोर इट गॉट म्यूटेटेड, that is the original form, and even the alpha strain. So first is correct, and second, that a variant of concern designation by the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that is CDC or the CDCP. It has put the Delta variant in the same category as Alpha and Gamma. So second also stands correct, and hence your answer will be both 1 and 2, C. ठीक है? No, it will not be A or B. The answer will be C for the question 1. चलिए, so moving forward. So China has achieved another landmark or another victory with respect to sending 3 astronauts to its under construction International Space Station, that is the Tianhe, right? So astronauts board Chinese space station module in historic mission, that is the news. So let's take a look at the development. 3 Chinese astronauts, they flew to an unfinished space station in China's first crewed mission since 2016. So remember, first crewed mission of China since 2016. Second, the Tianhe space station which the Chinese are building is under construction, not yet completed, right? Chaliye. Then this has led to the expanding China's already growing near Earth presence and challenging US leadership in orbital space. This crew boarded the Tianhe space station module where they will live for 3 months. 3 महीने के लिए these people, the 3 crew members, they are going to stay there only, and this is the longest stay in low Earth orbit by any Chinese national, right? The astronauts, they boarded the Shenzhou 12 or the Divine Vessel, that is the name of the space flight on which these these astronauts, they completed their journey or they were sent to the Tianhe space station. ठीक है? Then China's space station is expected to be finished by end 2022. Remember, this becomes significant in the wake of the fact that the International Space Station led by the United States, it is nearing its life, it is nearing the end of its life. It might get retired somewhere in 2024, and then or even before that, after 2022, when the Tianhe gets completed by China, it will be the only alternative to the 2 decades old US led ISS. ठीक है? So that means that the Chinese effectively will be having this International Space Station in the space, right? Pooja, how is the Chinese initiative important for us? See, the Chinese initiative is not as such per se important for us, but it's important for the scientific community across the world as a whole, right? And also for the space missions for other countries also. If at all we also plan something like that, obviously not in isolation, but having US or some other space agency in relation with that. ठीक है? And in your science and tech module, this tech part is certainly a part of your syllabus also. Chalo. So then taking a question now. China is expanding its footprint in the interplanetary missions also. Which of the following statements are not correct in this backdrop? Envision is an orbital mission to Venus. It is being developed by the Chinese Space Agency. And third, the recently used Chinese space flight Shenzhou 12 will be used for Envision mission as well. Yes. See, all the major missions by the leading space agencies across the world of different countries, all their significant missions are important from your UPSC syllabus perspective, right? Okay, A and D, near unanimity, some are typing A, some are typing D. तो देखो, पहली बात जहां तक एनविजन मिशन की बात है, it is certainly a mission which is being developed to the Venus. Yes, exactly. But the point is, it is by the European Space Agency, that is ESA, and not by the Chinese agency or the Chinese Space Agency. So second is incorrect, but first is correct. And last, that the recently used Chinese spaceflight Shenzhou 12 is going to be used in it, that also stands incorrect, and hence your answer will be A, because you were supposed to mark the incorrect statements, right? Envision is an orbital mission which is being developed by the European Space Agency to Venus. Yes, yeah, exactly, ESA. Correct. Chalo. So, moving forward, now this is a great news, I would say, rather, in the backdrop of all the economic activity that saw slump across the world and in India also, that India has retained the 43rd rank on IMD's World Competitive Index. That means for 3 straight years, that is past 3 years, we have retained the same position. See, you might not be able to relate, but appreciate the fact that the last 3 years, particularly the last couple of years, have seen devastation on economic front, on health front, on human lives front and livelihoods front, right? So on all those counts, if we take the fact that India still stood on the rank which it was holding 3 years back also, so that is something that yes, India has done something right somewhere. Fine. So India has maintained its position for the past 3 years, and it has significant improvements in government efficacy, government efficiency, government efficacy, and the overall governance that was undertaken or that was in the country held by the government of India and the other state agencies and the state governments. So the top 5 Asian nations: Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, UAE and China, and this is the latest round, right? On top, it's certainly the Switzerland, then Sweden from 6th last year to 2nd it has come up. That is, the IMD has also said that Europe as a complete continent or grouping has performed better than the rest of the world, right? Chaliye. So let's discuss it. India has retained the 43rd spot in the World Competitiveness Index compiled by the Institute for Management Development, which is based in Switzerland. The country has maintained the same rank for the past 3 years, as I told you, despite the COVID jolt to the economy, not just in India, across the world. And IMD noted that New Delhi has made significant improvements in governance, right? That is certainly an accolade. The improvements in the government efficiency factor are mostly due to relatively stable public finances. That means that the government has not faltered, or there are no near-term chances of it faltering on the public finances front, right? That is the government finances relatively we talk about. Then the 64 nation list was led by the Switzerland, while Sweden has moved up to the 2nd position from the 6th last. That is we discussed in the graphics also. So that is what the last 2 points mention. However, Denmark has lost 1 place to move to rank 3, right? So World Competitiveness Index, both important. देखो यहाँ पे importance is not just from objective question or MCQ point of view. Certainly you should be remembering this. But apart from that, for mains perspective and even for your PT, the performance of Indian economy in the wake of COVID-19, right? And how did we manage it, or how did we cater to the unprecedented challenge that was posed by COVID, or you can say that is still being posed by COVID. ठीक है, तो उस एस्पेक्ट से भी दिमाग खुला रखना, उस तरीके से भी यूपीएससी टेस्ट कर सकता है आपको, राइट? आई बिलीव आई एम क्लियर ऑन दैट. चलो, मूविंग टू द क्वेश्चन नाउ. यस, which of the following statements is or are not correct about the World Competitiveness Index released recently? The IMD measures how well countries manage all their resources and competencies in order to facilitate long-term value creation. And second, among the BRICS nations, India ranks at the top in the latest edition of this index. G. Good morning to those also who have joined the session late. Okay, 3, D, B, C. ठीक है, B, D and C, B, C, D, all answers except A. चलो देखो, the first statement certainly is correct because the IMD measures how well the countries manage their all resources and their competencies. ठीक है, इसमें they take the perception of the executive in the of the running of the leading corporates also in the country with respect to that what is the state support or how is the state or the government is supporting the businesses through the policies of the government, right? That what is the support that is forthcoming in the form of the policies that are being formulated by the state, so to manage all their resources and their competencies to facilitate long term value creation. ठीक है, this long term value creation becomes important if only you are having policy support from the government to facilitate that long term economic value being created, right? चलिए, so first is correct but second is incorrect because India in the BRICS nations if we talk about, then China has outpaced India and it is in at the top when we talk about the BRICS as a grouping, right? So your answer will be the not correct or the incorrect statement is only second, that is option B. ठीक है, ब्रिक्स की जहां तक बात करेंगे तो ब्रिक्स के केस में if we talk about the grouping, then to give you an Asian perspective or a perspective with respect to the close peers of India, right? Then you can view it here that the BRICS nations, India is ranked second after China, right? World competitive, yes, incorrect. Chalo, moving forward. So these are two pieces of articles which talk about, let me just set it, yeah. So these are two pieces of articles that again talk about the state of the Indian economy and also the linkages which we are having with the world economy. One article talks about the concern that Reserve Bank of India has flagged in its latest state of the economy report that amidst rising imports, even the $600 billion foreign exchange reserves that India has, they may not be enough to cover for the import bill of the country. And second is that United States Fed rate hike signals tank rupee by 76 paise inflation weighs. See, this article, the United States Fed decision to increase the rates, that means that you are going to see flight of money back or investment back from India to the United States, where they will be having increased return on their investments. That would essentially mean that you will have a decreased supply of dollar in the country, which means that again the rupee is going to depreciate, right? So that is going to have an impact on the state of the Indian economy, and club this development, see it jointly along with the fact that we are having inflation which is increasing, we are having growth which is certainly not very great right now because of the pandemic, of course, and on top of that you have the Delta variant, that is a variant of concern. UK and US we have just discussed, right? So that all means that in the Indian economy scenario we have to be careful on all these fronts. The RBI must certainly pull up its socks and get going. So is the case for the union government, right? Particularly the Ministry of Finance. So let's take a look at the notings by the Reserve Bank. So the Reserve Bank of India has indicated that the record level of 600 billion foreign exchange reserves of the country may not be adequate. Why? Because considering the projected imports and the negative international investment outlook or position that we are having globally. This was noted in the state of the economy report by the Central Bank of India, which is the RBI. Then what is it goes on to say that while forex reserves, see these statements are important for you, basic fodder. While forex reserves they provide you cushion certainly against the unforeseen external shocks, right? I believe everybody is able to relate to it. You are done with your Indian economy module or you are reading it side by side. Then certainly agar aapke paas you have a substantial number of foreign exchange reserves in your kitty, that helps you cushion or to absorb the shock if at all there is a shock in the global economy. आप जो है उससे लड़ने में सक्षम रहते हैं if you are having good amount of foreign exchange, right? But what is the caveat here? That these levels are often deceptive. The Reserve Bank itself saying this, it becomes hugely significant that the RBI itself is saying that such levels, they are often deceptive, and a better gauge of external vulnerability is an assessment or comes from an assessment of specific indicators. That means simple सीधी भाषा में कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स के बिल्डअप के ऊपर या उसके बेसिस पे आप ये नहीं कह सकते that you will be able to effectively absorb any shocks or cushion your economy if at all there is a shock in the global economy, or the imports rise, the import cost, it also rises, and the local domestic currency, that is the Indian national rupee, it depreciates. ठीक है? So that is why it is more important. Then in terms of projected imports, अगर projected imports जो हैं current reserves के हिसाब से देखें, then for 2022 the current level of foreign exchange reserves, they will provide a cover for less than 15 months. And why is this important, or why is this being flagged? This is being flagged because this is relatively less number of months which we can cover for right now compared to our other peers, right? India's foreign exchange reserves, just to repeat or reiterate, they had, ironically, this is an irony which I would say, on the other hand, touched an all-time high on 4th of June to the tune of $605 billion, right? So let's see how it unfolds. But yeah, that is one thing is good, that RBI has it has shown some proactiveness in flagging all these things, and certainly it will keep a close watch on it. Chaliye, let's take a question now. Which of the following statements is or are correct regarding the state of the Indian and global economy? Hanji, please read the statements and type your answers in the comment box. Okay, so I'll read the first statement. Currently, India is the 5th largest reserve holding country in the world and 12th largest foreign holder of US Treasury securities. Second, SDR and foreign currency assets, FCAs, both are a part of India's forex reserves. And third, QE by a central bank or quantitative easing by a central bank leads to sucking up of liquidity from the market. Yes. All the intelligent economists, A and B, great. Essentially, answer certainly is A, because both 1 and 2 are correct. Certainly, just to give you an understanding or a brief, that since India touched the all-time high on June 4 itself on the foreign exchange reserve count, that made us the 5th largest reserve holding country currently and the 12th largest foreign holder of US Treasury securities. Now see, if at all, why I have included this in the first statement, UPSC is not, certainly they may not ask you the direct facts, but the point is that since we are the 12th largest holder of US Treasury securities, that means that any changes in the United States are going to have a direct impact. They are going to have a direct impact on the Indian economy, right? First is correct, second also is correct, that you include both SDRs and FCAs in your foreign exchange reserves, but third is incorrect. Why is third incorrect? Why is third incorrect? Yes, तीसरी गलत है, पर क्यों गलत है? Quantitative easing में क्या करते हैं हम? Let's just revise this also. Along with that, now this, since it is in the question, what do we do? What does the central bank do in quantitative easing? What exactly it does there? Hanji, liquidity increase, yes, but how? It conducts open market operations and it purchases the securities, and through that it infuses liquidity or it increases the amount of money supply. Yeah, exactly. So third would have been correct had it been that the liquidity is increased. Fine. So your answer is 1 and 2 both are correct, third is incorrect. चलिए, Great. So take a read in the PDF. Moving to the map question. Yes, exactly. It eases liquidity, it increases liquidity. Either way you want to put it. Chaliye. So which of the following is are correct about the Black Sea region, or the Black Sea, sorry. It is connected with the Sea of Marmara through the Bosphorus Strait. Then the southern coast of Greece is contiguous with it, and the strategic Crimean Peninsula thrusts into the Black Sea from the north. Hitkankshi, I'll come to that. After this question, I'll briefly discuss the open market operations. Don't worry. Yes, all of you, please type your answers. Okay, so we have many answers, I believe. Yeah, great. Certainly, exactly. B has to be the answer, because certainly the Crimean Peninsula, it thrusts into the Black Sea from the north, and the Bosphorus Straits connect it with the Sea of Marmara. Sea of Azov से कौन सा strait connect करता है? Yes, please type in the comment box. Sea of Azov से कौन सा strait जो है वो connect करता है? चलो. So first certainly right, second incorrect, because Greece does not share any coast whatsoever with Black Sea, and third again correct. So answer is B. Okay, let's take a look at the map also now. So evidently very clear, this is the area where you have the Bosphorus Strait connecting the Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara, but Greece is contiguous although to the Aegean Sea but not to the Black Sea, right? Yeah, exactly. Kerch. Certainly Kerch. Yes, that is the Kerch Strait which connects the Sea of Azov. And why is this region again in news? Because of the recent meeting between the US President and the Russian President, that is Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. Okay? Here it is more clear. That is the Strait of Bosphorus, or the Bosphorus Strait, right? So before I can conclude the class, yes, exactly the thing which you were asking, Hitkankshi, with respect to the open market operations. See, to fight inflation or to increase the level of growth in the economy, it is a duty, or it is the responsibility of the Reserve Bank to check whether the liquidity needs to be increased, or it needs to be sucked up, or it needs to be reduced. And how it does that? It does so by conducting certain selling or buying of the securities from the open market. ठीक है? अगर securities RBI बेचता है, that means it is sucking up money from the market, because certainly if it will sell the securities, it will take out money from the market, right? That means it is going to reduce liquidity. And on the other hand, when it wants to pump money in the market, then it will buy those securities and give the money. ठीक है? It will purchase the securities from the market, and when it will purchase the securities from the market, it will increase the money supply, because the money will be in the market for which the RBI has paid to purchase those securities from the open market, right? That is how RBI conducts open market operations, to either increase the supply of money or reduce the supply of money which is there in the system. That is, increase or decrease the liquidity. ठीक है? हाँ जी, I believe this is clear to you. Yes, please confirm it to me, then we'll just close the session. It will be a wrap from my side. Yeah, quantitative easing. See, quantitative easing, it's an unconventional monetary policy tool through which the RBI, basically what it does is, it will purchase the securities from the market, and it will provide increased supply of money. That is, it will increase the liquidity in the system, right? Yeah, exactly. That is how it operates. ठीक है? Since exactly exactly the Reserve Bank, being the central bank of the country, it is not just the responsibility of the RBI, it is for every central bank across the countries in the world. Every central bank in every country has this responsibility. More or less, there could be differentiations, but more or less it is the same, right? That is, this responsibility is on the shoulders of the central banks of the countries in the world, right? Chaliye. ठीक है, so that is all from my side. It's a wrap. Thank you all for all your patience and your wishes. This is Piyush signing off. Study well and stay safe. Thank you and bye.